Let's go. If you haven't seen it, don't watch this. It was in the title. What's the matter with you? Leave. I'm serious. Like, I love your view and your. I mean, I already have your view, you fucking bitch. But I love the fucking watch time. But you know what? Some things are more important than that. If you haven't watched it, get out of here. Okay, are you all are you all qualified to watch this video now? All right. Fucking Tony died. Okay. Okay. God. Where do I start? Like, where do I even start with this movie? Okay. First of all, I kind of want to go start from the beginning of the movie. I thought it was very interesting how, like, pretty like so a while back Kevin Feige said that everything we'd seen was like from the first like 10, 15 minutes, I think he said, and in the trailers, I mean, and I think that for the most part that's accurate. Like, I think there are only like a few key scenes that weren't, and I think they also they also kind of like made it look different so that you couldn't necessarily tell where that was. But yeah, like, first of all, I want to say kudos to the trailer studio, or I don't know if Marvel cuts their own trailers, I'm not sure. But kudos to whoever cut the trailers for not giving away anything from the movie. Like, honestly, if Marvel can do this with Endgame, where literally a movie where like every fucking frame of the movie is a spoiler, the fact that they managed to cut multiple trailers, good trailers, get everybody hyped, and not give away anything from the movie? Are you kidding me? And then you've got, like, I just saw a Hobbs and Shaw trailer that literally gave away the entire movie. Like, if Marvel can do it, like, other people can't do it? Like, what's the matter? What's the matter with you people? It's not that, I mean, it's probably hard, but you're professionals. You should be able to do it. So, first of all, like, honestly, thank you, Marvel, for, like, not ruining your movie before having us watch it. And I'm not talking about people leaking, because those guys are assholes. And, I mean, I don't get a ton of comments in my YouTube videos yet, but if I see any spoilers in there, you know they're getting banned and whatever. They're getting their comments deleted. But yeah, first, yeah, like, watching this movie, not having it spoiled to me beforehand, just being able to go in and watch it, and, you know, not having the trailers like ruin it, and, you know, it's pretty great. It was an amazing experience. But anyways, so this movie starts off. It starts off with Tony and Nebula on the it was the Guardian ship, right? I think it was. Yes, it was. I think so. Whatever. They're on a ship and they're hanging out, and Tony's all like, "Oh my God, we did. Let me go send my boo a last message." So Tony thinks he's dead. He goes to sleep, and yeah, so like Captain Marvel comes and saves him and brings him back to Earth, and that's pretty key because like all of that just happens in the first like 5 minutes, and that's pretty crazy, right? I kind of figured that a lot of that stuff would have that would have sort of been like the first act is getting to Earth, and but it all just happens in like the first 5 minutes, which is cool, because it makes so I and like that was kind of weird. It's like, wait, Captain Marvel just came across Tony Stark, but no, because the end credit scene of Infinity War was, or what was it? Oh no, I think it was the end credit scene of Captain Marvel, where Captain Marvel comes to it comes to like the Avengers headquarters, and he's like, "Yo, what happened?" Nick Fury's pager went off. I was like, "Yo, I got it. Where's my boy?" And then they sort of like, then explain everything to her. So I think that they sent Captain Marvel to get Tony, and I guess Nebula just happened to be there too. I think that's what happened. Honestly, that wasn't made very clear, but I'm just gonna assume that's what happened. So yeah, like pretty much a lot of what that's pretty much the bulk of what they showed in the trailer, right? Where where Tony's stuck in space and everybody's just sulking around. You know, they have no hope. And so, and then after that, they all decide to go, you know what? We're going after Thanos. We found that bitch, and we're going to go kill him. And then they just kill him. And that's like the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. And I remember I was watching that and I was like, this is like the only thing that they've shown in the trailers, pretty much. I mean, they've shown like other things, but you have no idea what they are. Like the things that you know were in the trailers, it happens in like the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. So, and I love that because it just after that it's like, okay, anything can happen. Like literally anything can happen. And so yeah, and so then after that, Ant-Man comes out, and we're then brought in. This isn't going to be like a retelling of the entire movie, but we're then brought into what the movie actually is. Because Ant-Man comes out, and he's like, bitch, time travel. And they figure out time travel, and it turns into a time travel movie. So here's the thing. I mean, there's a lot, like, first of all, just the way that it worked, like the main thing that gets me is how does Captain America go back in time to like okay, he lives a life with Peggy, but then is somehow like does that counteract what Captain America did by being frozen in ice, but everybody else still remembers everything what happened? Because that's pretty important that Captain America be brought out of ice. Are there two Captain Americas? I don't know. I mean, I guess not, because, well, like, was old Captain America just living while young Captain America did his thing? Maybe? I guess? I don't know. I just, like, that's weird, right? So yeah, there's just some like time travel things where I'm like, I don't know if that makes sense. And like honestly, if that's like a big problem that that you personally have with the movie, I can totally get that because just the way that they use time travel, it's a little sloppy, I think. But for me, I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Like after all these movies, you guys have earned it. You guys have earned just this mechanism to give a send off to our characters, and you know have that be the mechanism, and maybe not have it be like, but and you know honestly like no time travel movie is perfect. Like there's always going to be a thing in a time travel movie where it just doesn't really make sense. So for me, I was able to go. You know what? It's fine. Like the story beats work. It's fine. Captain America, you live your life as with Peggy. You get that last dance. Oh my God, with my girl Haley Atwell. Haley Atwell, I love you. Please marry me. So yeah, I mean the time that it turns into a time travel movie, and some of it doesn't make sense, but I'm personally okay with that. And yeah, so like I mean, really, what this movie ends up being is a send off to a lot of the OG original characters that we know and love. So first of all, ScarJo, she dies. She gets Gamora'd, which okay. Now I haven't gone back to watch. I have not gone back to watch Infinity War, but I do believe that. So yeah, this is a bit of an inconsistency here, but I do believe that Red Skull was like, you must throw in the thing that you love most. And in this one, he just says, oh, you gotta throw in something that you love. That's kind of weird to me. Because, yeah, so obviously, like, Thanos has to throw in Gamora. But, or I don't know, maybe I'm just remembering Infinity War, but if Hawkeye was to sacrifice something being Scarlett Johansson, he would have to. Although, you know what? It actually, because if his wife and kids are dead, then maybe Black Widow maybe Natasha would be the thing that he loves most next. Like maybe that's next in line. Maybe. Although wait, no, because they went back in time, so he would have had to like gone back to Earth or something. And see, movie. You know what? You don't make sense, movie. But okay, so yeah, that's a bit of an inconsistency here because I'm pretty sure it was what you loved most. I could be dead wrong about this. I absolutely could. I acknowledge that. But I thought Red Skull said that, like, you have to sacrifice what you love most. But you know what? It's fine. I'm gonna move past it. It was still very touching and very sad when because they have a little fight to see who's gonna sacrifice who, and Natasha ends up winning, sort of winning the fight and sacrificing herself, and it was very touching. I mean, we kind of already knew that because that's although I will say that like since they announced that there's going to be a Hawkeye show, so you kind of on Disney Plus, so you kind of already knew that Hawkeye wasn't going to die. But honestly, in the moment, it didn't really like damage the impact that had on me. Like it was still really sad seeing Black Widow die. So that sort of sets the scene of it's like okay. And honestly, I was not after that. I was like okay, I am not going to like I was kind of thinking okay maybe Tony nor Captain America will end up dying because I mean we had a pretty big sacrifice. Natasha is one of the major OG characters, and her death honestly would have been enough for me. Because, like, really, the only caveat that I had going into this movie was that obviously they're going to bring everybody back. Like, you just know that's going to happen. I just, however they do it, I don't want it to feel cheap. Like, I want it to feel like, because there are a lot of fake deaths in the Marvel Universe already, but this would have been pretty egregious if they would have just killed everybody. Gotten, the entire world in tears at Spider-Man being, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, and then just bring them back without any consequence. Like, that would have felt cheap. So, honestly, with Black Widow dying in order to do that, that would have been enough. But then we got another send-off to the principal character, the face of the MCU, I would argue, which is Tony Stark. He ends up snapping his fingers and bringing everybody back. Or no, actually no, wait, sorry. Ruffalo, the Hulk brings everybody back, and Tony snaps his fingers to. I guess he killed Thanos and all. I think he only killed them. I believe. Yeah, I think he only ends up killing Thanos. I think that's what he did with his snap. So yeah, he kills Thanos and all his people, and that kills him. So that's another like major send off, and it's like, oh shit, wow, like they actually did it. They killed Tony Stark. And yeah, that was probably for me the saddest scene in the movie. Like, that's one that I'll admit I didn't cry at any point in this movie, but that's the bit that kind of almost got me to tears. And then we get the next one, where Captain America, Bucky, he goes back in time. He's trying to put the Infinity Stones where they need to be. And then my boy gets himself some puss. He goes back in time, gets that last dance with Haley Atwell, and oh my god, oh my god, Haley Atwell, But yeah, but Bucky ends up going back in time, and we find that out because after he goes through the portal, and he doesn't come back through the portal, they look over at a bench. And who's sitting over there? It's old ass Steve Rogers. So yeah, that's I have some time travel-y issues with this whole thing, but I like the arc. Like, it fits with the story arc of Captain America, so I'm okay with it. Like, I'm fine with it. And honestly, yeah, I love that he went back and lived his life with Peggy. And he then passes off the mantle of Captain America to Falcon. Which I kind of thought it was going to be Bucky. And I kind of feel like there's a bit more there's a bit more like opportunity for a good storyline with Bucky, because like Captain America was just like this perfect, hero archetype, really. Even though I love him, but he's like basically like he's like Superman, basically. Not in terms of powers, but in terms of morals and how he views the world. Like he's kind of perfect. So to have the mantle had been passed on to Bucky, who's basically the opposite of that. He's such a damaged person. I thought that would have made for a bit more of an interesting storyline, but I like Falcon as well, and they did it in the comics, so it makes sense. But if the mantle was going to be passed on to somebody, I kind of would have preferred it to be Bucky, because I feel like that would have been a bit more of an interesting storyline. But either way, it's Falcon, and it's cool. He passes it on to Falcon, and basically it's like, yeah, by the end of this movie, like we realize we're saying goodbye to Black Widow, Iron Man, and Captain America. And here's what I'll say. Obviously, this is the MCU, and these characters could come back, but I hope not. Like, this was such a beautiful send-off to these characters. After 10 years of these movies, this is just such a beautiful... And I mean, really, I'm more talking about Iron Man and Captain America. Like, it's... Like, they've had such an amazing arc, both of these characters, and to have them come back, I don't know. Like, it would... I personally don't want to see that happen. I think their stories ended kind of perfectly. Like, Tony, like, ever since the first Avengers, right? His whole thing has been preparing to, defend the Earth from aliens. That's kind of been like his main. That's kind of made him go crazy. Like you saw in Iron Man 3, and he fails in Infinity War. And I think him, coming back from that failure in this is incredible. And that's such a powerful storyline. So I don't know. I kind of just I hope they don't bring him. I personally I hope they don't bring him back. Not to mention it's gonna feel really cheap if they come back. They like walk back from one of these deaths. And actually, Captain America doesn't actually die. So I feel like Captain America. It's like, how would they bring them back? I guess they could go back in time and do like a prequel Captain America movie, but I don't know. I hope, and I honestly, I think Chris Evans is done as well. Like, I don't think he wants to come back as Captain America. But yeah, I hope they don't like find some way to bring back Captain America from in the past, because he like it was pretty definitive in that he's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go back and live my life. So he's not gonna want to come back at some point. So yeah, I really like the way that they wrapped up Iron Man and Cap's arcs in this movie. I thought it was very well done. My throat is getting parched. I'm just gonna water, man. Stay hydrated, kids. It's very, very important. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep that in. I don't give a shit. Their arcs they were just so perfectly wrapped up in this movie. Like I said before, it's the MCU. Anything's possible. They could totally come back at some point. I just kind of hope they don't. I hope they just let it be. So yeah. Yeah. What else? I mean, shit. I'll say I personally like the pace of this movie. I like the fact that the first two acts were like really slow. Like, I like the first act. It basically just lets you get situated into the post-snap Earth. And I think that was necessary, and I really liked it. Like, seeing everybody like seeing Tony like sort of accept that this is his existence now, And seeing then Scarlett Johansson and Cap just like not accept this in any way, shape, or form. I thought that was very good and very powerful. Like it's like yeah, that's kind of that works with what their characters would be doing. Um, and like it's just it's yeah, I thought it was a very good and interesting and necessary for us to spend a ton of time in the post snap Earth. And yeah, it is slow. Like I'm not like it's obviously slow. Um, and then even when it gets into the time travel, it's not like a ton of action all over the place. It's just kind of a lot of meandering about, going and getting the Infinity Stones, and it's fun and it's interesting, but it's not really like heavily action packed. Like it's sort of like going back to things that were like insane action sequences from other movies, but sort of like started like sneaking their way through that, trying to get the Infinity Stones. And I thought a lot of that stuff was really fun. I thought going back to the end of the first Avengers and trying to get the Tesseract, I thought that was fun. And like Captain America fighting his past self, that was a ton of fun. I really liked when the Hulk had to what's her name, the lady, the wizard lady from Doctor Strange, when the Hulk has to confront her to get the time stone. I love that. I love the way that she's just like, bitch, get out your body, Mark Ruffalo. And like I thought that was a ton of fun. And yeah, what was her name? Was it the I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought that whole interaction was a ton of fun. And oh, actually, I literally just remembered. So, Nebula gets captured because when Nebula, I guess, is in the past, like her and her past self still have like a shared memory bank. Again, another thing. I don't know how much sense that I don't know if that makes a ton of sense, but I'm just gonna roll with it. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about logic. um. So they sort of share like memories, and Thanos ends up finding out about their plan, and it's like, oh shit. And then yeah, okay, so fast forward a bit to the final battle. Nebula shoots her past self, and unless I just don't remember. I feel like that never has like a resolution. Like, is Nebula dead because she shot her past self, or is she still alive? I can't remember. Or maybe that doesn't kill her. Maybe that wouldn't kill her. I don't know. I felt like that bit. I was like, that didn't really have a resolution. But either way, what was I saying? Yeah, I liked all the stuff of getting the stones, because then Rhodey holds the stone after they knock out Quill, and then he comes back to the present, but Nebula doesn't, obviously. Yeah, and then she gets captured by her past self or whatever. So yeah, all that stuff happens. And yeah, like I liked all of that. That was fun. So yeah, so like the first two acts of the film, they're like, the first act is slow, the second act is kind of fun, but then the third act, when Thanos, he's like, all right, they got the stones for me, great, and then he comes and just destroys the Avengers facility. Actually, wait, I forgot, because Hulk. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. So like, it's in the present, but Hulk snaps his fingers, and he snaps his fingers, and he brings back everybody. And then Nebula, who sort of infiltrated the Avengers, opens up a gateway for Thanos' ship to come through to the present and just destroy the Avengers facility. So yeah, that's sort of the setup of it all. And this, I mean, I think this constitutes the third act, because I think this goes on for like an hour. And my God, like, if you thought, like, the first two acts are slow, but the last hour absolutely makes up for it, because it is just insanity. It is just a full-on war. Like, like honestly, I think yeah, it might overthrow the airport scene in Civil War. I don't know. I don't know if I would necessarily go that far, but it might. It definitely might. I mean, there are obviously like so many like amazing standout moments. I mean, when Thor and Iron Man and Captain America fight Thanos, like that is just so good. Like when Captain America finally calls Mjolnir, that is such an incredible moment. That was great. I mean, it's definitely fan service, but it makes sense. Like that is like like that's obviously when Captain America is like at his most like I am Captain America and I will never give up, and he calls Mjolnir. So good, so good, and yeah, he probably honestly with Mjolnir and his shield, he probably got the most hits on Thanos. Like he probably did the most damage, to be honest. And yeah, I liked how like I like how Hawkeye he's the one that's stuck with the gauntlet, and he's like, oh god, okay, I'm just gonna survive, and I'm just gonna try to not die. But actually, interestingly enough, I was kind of expecting that like when all this happens, like Hulk, like not Bruce Banner as the Hulk, but like the actual Hulk would sort of take control and just go crazy. But what was actually interesting was that after Hulk snapped his fingers, his arm wasn't his arm like it seemed like irreversibly damaged. Because I remember the Russo brothers had said that after when Thanos snapped his fingers in Infinity War, he was like damaged for good. So that's why they were able to like so easily take him down at the beginning of the movie. So I think it's like, is the Hulk just not gonna be this like powerhouse figure anymore? That's kind of interesting. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's very interesting. I'm not sure like that. That's definitely leaves me curious as to what they're gonna do with the Hulk in the future. I mean, obviously he's still really powerful, but yeah, his arm like never healed. Like even at the end of the movie when they're sending Captain America to go to the past, like the Hulk's arm is like in a sling. Which yeah, I mean yeah, well I guess we'll just see what they're gonna do with that. And yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about the final hour, and I mean like the moment where when Tony's down, Thor is down, and Captain America is down. But Captain America just gets up, and he's like he's ready to put his life on the line and face Thanos and his entire fleet. And then you see the Doctor Strange circles opening, and you see all like just everybody that you've ever could have possibly imagined coming out, like the Wakandans. You see the wizards from, it's not Kunlun. Kunlun is Iron Fist. No, Iron Fist did not. His ass did not come out. Uh, what's the place where I don't know. Whatever, the wizards from Doctor Strange, they come out. Yeah, no, but like everybody just comes out and stands behind him. But it was just it was such a fucking incredible moment when Captain America is ready to just die. He's ready to die. But then everybody just comes up and it's, oh my god. Oh my god. Like that might have been like, actually no, I'd probably have to go with Captain America holding Mjolnir for the first time and fighting with, that was probably the best moment, but that was such an incredible moment. And I was like I was I was watching, I was like, okay, what's about to happen? Like what's about to happen here? Cuz I was like, okay, are Tony and Thor gonna just get up again? But yeah, that was incredible. And yeah, just yeah, this entire last hour is just so action packed and incredible. Like it's just so good. It is so good. And yeah, I like actually notable from a lot of her absence, Captain Marvel isn't in this a whole lot. Um like she's in it a little bit at the beginning and she's in it a little bit at the end. Yeah, you that absolutely did not have to watch Captain Marvel before watching this. And yeah, so honestly, overall, uh, Endgame was really, really, really great. I think, like I think it was a pretty great movie in its own right. Because whereas Infinity War, like honestly, it wasn't even a movie. It was just starts and it's just a bunch. It honestly it feels like three different like third acts just sort of happening at once. That sort of leads to an ending. But it definitely works because, like I said before, the MCU has been like a season of television. So honestly, that works as an episode of a season of television. And yeah, and like Infinity War is like its own beast. This I would say is absolutely more of a traditional movie, and yeah, it's great. It's really great. Don't go into it expecting it. This is a spoiler review. You've already fucking seen it. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it absolutely works. I think it only had to be okay, like to me, for me to be satisfied. Like I honestly I went into it and I was like, I'm not gonna expect the greatest movie in the world. I still don't I don't know, I probably wouldn't I don't think it's the best MCU movie. I think that still probably goes to Civil War. But this blew me away. This was incredible. I mean, I like to me, it just had to stick the landing. And this goes far and beyond that. So yeah, Endgame. Have you seen it? If you have, hopefully you have before watching this. Unless you're a lunatic who doesn't care about being spoiled. If you've seen it, yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, ring that bell or whatever. There's currently an Arkham Asylum Let's Play going on here, so you can also go check that out on this channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Yeah, so that's basically gonna be it for me. Yeah, that spoiler review wasn't very structured. It was just basically me talking about stuff that I wanted to talk about from the movie. Like I feel like I kind of just ended up recapping the movie. Like I said originally that I wasn't gonna recap the movie, but I kind of ended up doing that. But that's okay. I was just talking about stuff that would just randomly come up when I'm like, hey, this is cool. I want to talk about it. Oh my god, hold the front door. The last Stan Lee cameo, and look, yeah, so there is a Stan Lee cameo in it. What was it? It was like, I think it was when, I believe it was when, oh god, I'm so sorry. It was Stan Lee was in a car, but I'm trying to remember. Was it when Tony and Cap go back to the 70s? I think that was when it happened. But Stan Lee was in a car, and he said something funny. God, I'm sorry. I wish I remembered what it was. But yeah, there is a Stan Lee cameo in this. And it didn't really feel like a send-off, but it just sort of felt like a Stan Lee cameo. But either way, yeah, the Stan Lee cameo was good. Obviously, rest in peace to Stan Lee. I don't know if there's going to be one in Spider-Man Homecoming. I'd have to imagine that there will be, right? I think I can't remember if they've said or not that this is going to be the last Stan Lee cameo. I can't remember. So I think there might be one in Spider-Man Homecoming. I guess, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Or not Homecoming, Far From Home. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, there is a Stan Lee cameo. God, I wish I remembered the specifics of it. I'm a terrible person. But yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Now I feel like an asshole for ending it on such a sour note. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Yeah, either way, it's gonna be it. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Check out the Arkham Asylum Let's Play if you want. And yeah, goodbye.